Okay, a few things to note real quick. Let me turn this down. Quite a few changes have happened for today. First change to note is you are not seeing my face right now. I'm aware of this, and I do apologize for this. I'm not ignorant of the fact that I do not have a face cam today. You may be wondering, Ben, why don't you have a face cam today, Ben? I really miss just staring at your gorgeous face, and I know exactly how you feel. Unfortunately for you, fortunately for me, one of the camera angles that I use for my live streams, I use my phone for because it has really nice integration. I've gotten a lot of slack on this stream for streaming on a Mac. One of the things that Apple does incredibly is the ecosystem. And essentially what the ecosystem allows me to do is it allows me to, this is a really very loud microphone right now. Essentially what the ecosystem allows me to do is it allows me to connect my phone as a webcam without any external software or anything needed. There was a software, I forget what it was. There was a software that I really liked. Elgato bought it, and I think it's doing really, really well. The only problem is that costs money. It's really cheap though. What is the phone webcam app by Elgato called? Is it Epoch Cam? Yeah, I've been following Epoch Cam since before they got bought by Elgato, I believe, because I don't think they were originally Elgato's. Yeah, but now Elgato's promoting it like crazy. Yeah, I don't think Elgato. When did Elgato buy Epoch Cam? Oh, Corsair. I guess Corsair is the parent company of Elgato. How do I spell Corsair? Own Elgato. Oh, Corsair bought Elgato as well. They're just buying everyone. Oh, it's 2018. And in 2020, I'm going on a really long tangent right now. Essentially, the only reason that I don't have a webcam right now, sorry about that. You can look up Epoch Cam if you want to. You're not here to watch Epoch Cam. You're here to watch Blender tutorial. Well, no. If you wanted to watch Blender tutorial, go watch Blender Guru because he does it in about a tenth of the time that I do it because I go on random rants like this. Reason I'm not doing a face today is because one of my camera angles, I use my phone. And actually, I'm waiting, hopefully, for a phone call. I have no idea when it could come. It could come today. It could come tomorrow. But I'm waiting for a call back about... It is not finalized, so I can't really say anything about it because I'm going to be really disappointed if it doesn't happen. But you're going to be less disappointed if you don't know what the opportunity is. It's going to work. It's going to work. Just in case it doesn't, I'm going to keep it under wraps, and also just because I want to surprise people. This is perhaps an opportunity if I get fortunate, and if I'm fortunate enough, opportunity to change my entire life. I don't know if I'm being exaggerative at all. I think it's a really cool opportunity, and I really genuinely hope that you get the opportunity to hear about it one day. All that is dependent on the fact I get a call back. So that's why I'm not using my phone today. What about my other camera angle, which is literally the 1080p webcam on this very expensive, I'm not flexing, I think it may have been a ripoff, Mac that I'm using. In my mind, I was like, well, if I'm not using my phone, I don't have to clean up my room because, plot twist, my room does not look this good all the time. You know, with all the boxes in the background, it does not look that pretty all the time. In fact, it does not look that pretty right now. So I said, if I'm not going to use my phone as a webcam, then I'm just not going to clean up my room. Also, you're not here to look at my face. Let's be real here. You're here to watch Ben do Blender. And honestly, most likely the person watching this is me. So hello, me. Okay. That was my rant for the day. Let's get into Blender. So if you remember yesterday, we made quite the advancement, if this will load. Yes, quite the advancement. And we also rendered this in cycles. Wait, hello? This isn't Cycles, is it? Oh, this is Cycles. Hello. This is the Cycles I remember. This is absolutely faster than yesterday, I will say. He was saying that it takes a little bit of a time for it to get used to your GPU, maybe. I don't really know. This is faster, though. Watch this. Rendering done. Definitely not seamless as his like fourth RTX 3080s or 3090s are, but pretty close. Close enough for me. Okay, so I told you Friday. Sorry, I wasn't here yesterday. I went to go to a musical with my mother. It was a very nice musical. We went to go see The Newsies. First time watching the musical. I'm a big fan of the movie with Christian Bale. That may have been Christian Bale's first movie. What was Christian Bale's first breakout role? Empire of the Sun. When did this come out? Oh, this is before Newsies. Oh, it was nominated. Was Christian Bale nominated for an Oscar already? Who did Christian? Wait a minute, Empire of the Sun. I don't know why I feel like I've heard of this movie. That's why I've heard of this movie. Okay, so I was wrong. Newsies was not Christian Bale's breakout role, but he was in Newsies nonetheless. Apparently, it was after his role in Empire of the Sun. Here's Newsies. The guy behind this, feel kind of bad for him, went on and, well, I don't know if I feel bad for him. Newsies has a very interesting feel to it, right? And it doesn't remind me of the other films. Maybe this guy's satisfied. And honestly, I like some of the work that his other movies have done. It's just, after Newsies, he went on to do the 3 High School Musical movies and the Descendants movies. Directed both of them, all 3 of them, all 6 of them. Which isn't horrible. Honestly, I like High School Musical. I'm just saying, I really, really liked Newsies, and it definitely reached outside of the realm of Disney Channel. When was Disney Channel a thing? Was it that big of a deal back in 92? But then this guy goes on, and what does he do? He goes on to work on Disney Channel, and not just the movies. He does the shows as well. Andy Mack, I've never seen that. I just know that that's a show on Disney Channel. He has no upcoming directorial credits. The only stuff that I've heard of is the Disney channels. Oh, here's Hocus Pocus. So, life could be worse for this guy. But I liked Newsies. I liked the show, too, the Broadway show. Not the Broadway show. I didn't see it on Broadway. The musical. But yes, it was the Broadway. Just came to Arizona. It was good. Newsies, this came out in like 2012, I think. Newsies Broadway, Disney, Newsies the Broadway musical. I'm not gonna spoil anything beyond the bare minimum. One thing that I liked about the Broadway is that I believe in the show, or like in the movie, the reporter guy is a guy. I believe. Yeah, it's a dude. Okay? I feel like I've seen this dude before. Brian That sounds familiar. Oh, that's the name of the character. Who plays Brian Denton is the question. Bill Pullman. I feel like I've seen this guy in other movies. Either way, one of the things that I really appreciated about the Broadway is that the reporter was a female in this one instead of a male in the movie, and I honestly think that that's one of the changes that was for the better. I think, yeah, here's a picture. I think this might be the reporter. That honestly makes a lot more sense to me, because in the movie he was like a cool guy, but there was nothing that was like interesting about him, you know. So I will say that switch was pretty good. I like the fact that she's a girl, just because of the fact that the Newsies are the underdogs, and they're being reported on by, at the time, an underdog was a female reporter, and she's a young, she wants her breakout story is what she wants, and that's literally what the Newsies want. So honestly, to me, that makes a lot more sense. And then there were a few things that I really did not appreciate about the Broadway, or not necessarily didn't appreciate, I just like things in the movies more. Spot Collins' character got sidelined. He was in it, but barely. Oh, that's embarrassing. Conlon, not Collins. Conlon. This dude was cool in the movie. Say what you will, I thought this dude was cool. He's the newsie who runs, or like who's in charge of, if you've seen Newsies, this makes sense. If you haven't seen movies, this makes absolutely no sense. He's the dude who, he's the Jack Kelly of Brooklyn. And his character got sidelined. There was another character I felt like who got sidelined. No, that was the main one, honestly. Yeah. He was an extra he was there technically in the Broadway. Okay, what am I doing? I'm supposed to be making blender donuts. Okay. Let's get on with it. Again, 5 more videos. I apologize. It was supposed to be 4, but it's actually 5. So.
And then God said, "Let there be light," which is the topic for this tutorial. Now we want to create the look of a morning kitchen countertop. Like you just woke up in the morning, the sunlight's coming in and it's warm and it's inviting. So we want to have some sunlight coming in from the left. Now we could take our default lamp here and turn it into a sun lamp and then try to angle it like that. But the reason that this looks so terrible is that one of the key components of natural light.
There's a fan staring directly at my microphone, and I can see that it's getting picked up.
Is not just the sunlight, but the skylight around it, getting that the right shades of blue and white and the gradient as it goes towards the horizon. And that's actually quite difficult to do. But thankfully, there's a relatively newish feature in Blender which we can use. So rather than using any lamp at all, I'm going to delete the lamps so there is no light in my scene whatsoever, and instead go to my world tab here, and then where we've got color, I'm going to click the little yellow dot and then select sky texture. And what this has added is besides just the sky texture, it's also added in a sun lamp. So if I rotate around, we should see, look at that, real sunlight coming across it. Now it is very hot, so if I rotate around, we should see, look at that, real sunlight coming across it. Now it is very hot by.
Okay, let's do that. We're here. Did I move us back to Eevee? Hello? Oh no, it's this one, isn't it? Yeah. Let me move us back to Eevee just for this one. And then, what was it? Oh, take our lamp. Get out of here. No one wants the lamp, apparently. Is there another one? Hello? Why is it bright? Is there supposed to be another lamp somewhere? I guess not. Okay. Then we go to worlds. We go to color. Sky texture. Whoa. Beautiful. I mean, not beautiful, but like we have sky there, so that's something. And then, what are we? We're rotating it. What did that? I feel like that didn't do anything. Is that doing anything? If I switch to Eevee, it's gonna kill my computer, I feel like. Cycles. Sun rotation. Oh yeah. Look at the little shadow move. That's certainly doing something.
Default. So if you go to your render settings, underneath color management at the very bottom here, you've got an exposure slider, which you use actually quite a lot. You can see the lighting has stayed the same, and it doesn't have to re-render anything. This is purely just adjusting, the sensor essentially on your camera. And if you hold down control, I usually just snap it to a -2. Now back to the sky settings. So what this is, essentially
Exposure to -2. Is that industry standard? The light paths? I wasn't paying attention. What do I do? Okay. Oh, lights. No. Camera. What are we in? Hold on, I missed that. Color management, of course. Which is right there. Look at that. Look at all the grain on there. Isn't that cool?
control, I usually just snap it to a -2. Now back to the sky settings. So what this is, essentially it's created the exact look of the sky, a real sunlight, that little sun disk over there, and everything will change depending on what you set, like the elevation, right? If you set it to be like really low in the sky, well, that's like morning light. You can see it's changed everything to be like a warm look, right? So we've got like really warm light over everything.
Whoa,
and if you change it to be
cool.
like noon, like the sunlight is coming directly above it, you can see it's a lot colder. And that's because as the sunlight goes lower in the sky, it's now passing through more of the atmosphere, so it's like decaying the light. And
Bro just knows so much stuff. Like, I've been learning more real life stuff and like how donuts are made. I've learned more about how donuts are made than how Blender 3D renderings are made, which is no offense to this guy. It's definitely teaching me how to do 3D renders, but he's teaching me even more about donuts.
you get you get like an orangey look, but as it goes more vertical, then it's a lot more clear and cleaner. Anyway, it's a very cool setting that is relatively new in Blender. But yeah, so I'm actually going to leave it at the default at around 15 degrees. The one thing I will change though is the sun size. So you get like really, like clean, hard shadows from the sun. And this sun size here, the reason for this very weird measurement, 0.545 degrees, is because it's actually the real sun size in relation to the Earth. But there are reasons for changing that, because if the sun goes through a cloud, then obviously the cloud is now lighting up and it's creating more of a dispersed look. So from the look of the camera, I usually just adjust this to be like a 2 or a 3, and it just makes the sun a little bit softer around the edges and a little nicer. At least to be like a 2 or a 3. And
Somewhere in between a 2 and a 3, he said. Sun size. Oh, yeah. Right there. Look at those beautiful shadows. Oh. There they are. His looks way better than mine. That's because his elevation is the same as mine. Hello? Oh, it's because his rotation's different than mine. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that looks better. No.
it just makes the sun
it does look better,
a
but
little
it
bit
doesn't
softer
look
around
as
the
good
edges
as his.
and a little nicer, at least according to me. Awesome. So, looks better, but now we have another problem, which is that the skylight is just bleeding in from all directions, right? Because obviously it would. So we need to create an enclosure around it to obviously act as an indoor space. And just before we do that though, whilst I was preparing for this tutorial, I noticed that the donuts are a little close to my backsplash here. And that matters because we're going to use depth of field later to make things that are behind it are like out of focus, but we can't really do that if it's too close to the backsplash. So I'm just going to increase the distance there and also just scale it up a little bit because now that it's in the background,
I can do that. I don't know how that happened. Something like that. Oh. No. This is not straight on, so I don't know what I'm trying to accomplish here. I'm just trying to make my... Ah, there we go. Is that far back enough? There we go. That ought to be far enough.
Yeah, otherwise you'll see like the corners actually appear in the render, which we don't want. So just make that a little bit bigger, move it up. Okay, that's pretty good. So essentially, yeah, you just want to have like 1, 2, 3-ish plate widths, I think will do it. But yeah, something like that. And I also now just want to make sure, just fiddling around with this now, but yeah, this is going to be positioned exactly on the plate as well. Awesome. Okay, so that enclosure. Obviously, to create that enclosure, we are going to be adding in a cube. So Shift A, Mesh, Cube. And I want to scale this down because although it is like a kitchen, right? Nothing outside of the frame is going to be in the shot. So making it bigger than it needs to be is just going to add to the render times because then light has to bounce around those things and yeah, not good. So yeah, something scaled about that. I don't know, something like that. Now, really what I want it to do is just like that corner here, I want it to be locked to this point. Like I want to move it to that point. And previously in Blender,
Let's make a cube. I'm switching back to Eevee again. Sorry, I cannot handle this. There we go.
this was a really fiddly process. I would have to tap G and then Z, move along that, and then try and time it here, and then tap G and then Y and move it, and it would never be exactly correct. It would always just be slightly off. Well, now there is a new feature in Blender, literally, that came in this release, 4.0, that has changed the game. So there was a bunch of snapping improvements, so I will show you them now. So it's actually easy to understand if you just go into wireframe mode. So if I tap G, so I'm moving my cube, if you hit B, it now enters you into a new state called snapping mode. So the first thing it's asking you is what is the origin of the object that you're moving that you want to be the snapping point. So essentially, as I mouse over this, you can see the cursor is changing. When it's a circle, that means it's going to snap to that face. If it is a crosshair, that's that edge. If it's a triangle, that's the middle point of the edge, which is sometimes useful. And if it's a square, then that's a vertice. So this is on the object that is selected right now, okay? So I obviously want that corner vertice, so I'm just going to do a single click there. Now, after I've clicked, you can see I'm able to select whichever point in the rest of the scene I want to snap it to. So just like, again, it's a square when it's a vertice. So when I'm on these faces here, right there, I'll do a single click. And there we go. So you can see it's perfectly aligned it with the bottom of that that backsplash there. Now, it is a little weird. I'll be honest. Like, maybe it's more weird because I've been using Blender for so long. Maybe beginners find it a little bit easier. But yeah, like the fact that you're in a move state, then you're hitting B, and you will be moving it, but it's in a snapping mode rather than a placement mode. It is a little weird. And also, just to make it even more complicated, you can hold down Alt at any point and then middle mouse to drag around. Because sometimes you want to snap like that point, but then you need to select a point underneath an object. So you can hold down Alt, middle mouse, and then find that point and snap it to that. So that's even weirder, but I'm very glad it's in there because it is great, but it is just like takes a little bit to wrap your head around. But I will continue using it actually. So in face select mode, in edit mode, you can see this is too high up. So I can just, I mean, I could try and place it like this, or I could hit B and then go this point to that point.
Wait, what? Hold on. Hello? Yeah, we won't be doing that for now.
Same here. G, B, this point to that point. Yeah.
Oh, do I have to slide it? Is that what I'm doing? Also, wait, what? How did we get over there? Okay. Also, why am I... What is this? There we go. What? Wait, what clicker am I supposed to be? There used to be a clicker where... Yeah, where I can just select stuff. Why can't I select... Oh, it's because I'm in wireframe mode. So how does he select stuff in wireframe
It's pretty
mode?
useful. I mean, it doesn't have to be this here. Just, I mean, I could try and place select, but it is just like takes a little bit to wrap your head around. But I will continue using it actually. So in face select mode, in edit mode, you can see this is too high up. So I can just, I mean, I
He doesn't tell you. Okay.
could try and place it like this, or I could.
So let's get out of wireframe mode since he doesn't tell us how to do that. Okay, perfect. Now we go edit mode. We select this face. B. Oh. G, B, that one to that one. Perfect. We take this G, B, this corner. Oh, G, B, this corner to that corner. And then we go here, we go G, B, that corner to this is really, really nice. That's crazy that this hasn't been a feature until recently. Okay, take this. G, no. Object select mode. Go to edit mode. G, B, this one to there we go. Perfect. And then this thing perfect. And then this all should be hello. How's it going? I'm working on Blender, if you know what Blender is. We're on day 5, tutorial number 10. So, 2 a day. I was hoping to do 3 a day, but it's turned out to be an average of 2 a day. Unfortunately. Well, yeah, almost is a stretch for that term. Interesting. Why did this one go? I'm trying to... That one. Oh, but now we're over here. What are we doing over here? B. That one. Beautiful. We're almost done with our cube here. G, B. That goes here. And we have made a, well, reformed a cube. It was already a cube to begin with. And we go inside of here. Wow. This place is looking crazy. I wonder what it would look like with our, in our render mode. We have light peeking out somehow. Interesting. Wow, Eevee doesn't even render any of that. That's crazy. Looking very glitchy right now. That's okay. We have a lot of, what's it called? Clipping?
It hit B and then go this point to that point. Same here. G, B, this point to that point. Yeah, it's pretty useful. I mean, it doesn't have to be this exact. I mean,
Oh, he was doing, was I not doing the face select? I was doing the face select. I don't know why it was taking so long.
It's just stuff that's outside of the frame, but anyways. All right, and I'll move this out. So I do need to create a little bit of space here because the
Of course, for the camera. Let's select our face on this side and extend it out. Now if we go in here, or if we go to our camera view, there we go. There's our camera view right there.
camera needs to sit here, obviously. So there needs to be a bit of space there. But if I move inside, you should see some flickering. Yay for flickering. The flickering is because obviously the cube comes with 6 faces, but we've already got 2 planes right here. And we don't really need those planes. We could actually map a marble texture to the cube, but then you have to deal with UV unwrapping and all that stuff. I find it's actually easier sometimes to just work with planes and use that instead. So instead, with the cube here, I'm just going to remove the 2 faces that I don't need. So the back face and then this bottom face. So selecting those 2 and then hit X, which is another way to delete. And not vertices, that's what we've been doing currently. Instead, hit faces.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay. Let's zoom out. Zoom out, I said. Okay, and then we hit this. We shift this. And we hit X and then do faces. If we go back. Perfect. We have our marble ground. We're doing good. We're doing good.
So it's just deleting those faces. So now you should see you have, it's kind of like an open box. 4 sides, and then the back and the bottom are open. And now what I need is an opening on the left-hand side to be that window. So to do that, I'm going to cut into it so that I get a little bit of gap here on the left-hand side to be like the gap between the wall and the window, and then another gap here between the bottom of the countertop. And so I'm going to inset, and for that tool it's I. So I.
Yep.
Inset, and it's now kind of like it's shrinking that face into itself, and you're just like choosing its scale essentially. I'll hold down Shift to get a more precise movement, and yeah, about there. That's pretty good. And now I just delete that face. So again, X and then faces.
Hello? Which way am I supposed to go for the... Oh, that's cool. It's taking a lot longer to render now, I'm noticing.
Awesome. So we should now see this, which in rendered view mode, should hopefully look okay. Yeah, not bad. Now this window frame here, it really is just acting like the control for the light. So if I want, I can much more precisely place this. Like I don't want that much light coming in, creating all that light on this side of the wall there. I can also say maybe I need more space here so that I've got a little bit of darkness so I can put some things in the background without them falling into light.
Where's my sound at? That's my question. Oh, hold on. Wow. Look at that. Okay. So what we need is well, cube moves into our environments. And I need this. Oh, it's because I'm not in object mode. I need this, and this. I knew it wasn't gonna work. Okay. We're gonna go. I need everything except for. Oh, my bad. Okay, all. Shift click that. Shift click our camera. Shift click this and shift click this. So now, ideally, oh, that was my 3D cursor. Well, can't I say? No, I don't want to say go to 3D cursor because then it's going to go below. Technically, that's not on the ground, but you can't tell. Okay, we're chilling. Okay.
And then this bottom face here, sorry, this bottom edge, this is going to control where the light starts in the scene, right?
Oh, I did all that adjustment without even realizing what I was adjusting for. It's... What are we doing? Face mode? Or, oh, edge mode. They're like barn doors, if anyone knows what barn doors are for filming and lights. I
Okay,
don't.
so-
I'm got to get better at lighting my films.
If it's like all the way down here, then it's, yeah, anyways, you get the idea. Just sort of shaping the light. Awesome.
I think we're already good from that perspective. What is... Okay. Yeah, I think we're already good from the bottom.
Now with the camera selected, I'll just move this down a little bit, angle it up. There we go. I mean, you can also just do this in fly mode, shift, tilde key, but I like hitting the R tool and then just selecting the axes, and I can just tilt the camera exactly where I want it. Awesome. So, much better. We've controlled the skylight, so the skylight is now longer coming in. But we have uncontrolled lighting in the sense that this wall here, that's over here, that is supposed to represent the rest of the kitchen, is hitting and receiving all of that sunlight, and it's just filling in all of this space on the right-hand side. And that's not good because we want shadow. Shadow is actually a good thing. It helps reveal form. A lot of new artists, like, they get scared of shadow. They try and, like, fill everything in and light everything. You do want shadow. Shadow is a good thing. So all this uncontrolled space is not good. So essentially we need to...
For the most part, shadow is good. Just make sure that you actually have light, because you need light in order to have shadows.
do just like what you would do in the real world, and that's to create a
He's 100% right. I've just seen movies where people don't use lights and they try to do night scenes, and it's just very interesting.
like what a photographer would do. They make like a black fill card, right? And that's just to essentially stop bounce lighting from hitting the subject. So it's a good excuse to learn about a new feature. So with the cube selected, if I go to the materials and then hit new, we're going to keep the white material for everything else, right? White walls. But then I can add another material right underneath this one by hitting the plus button, then adding another material, and I'll call this one black wall. And actually we'll change the shader from principled to a much simpler diffuse. It's just easier for cycles to calculate than a full principled one. And then this, I'll just change the color to be really dark, almost black. All right, and now in edit mode, I'm gonna go face select, and I'm gonna select that one wall that I wanna have the black wall material to. And then here I select it from the material list, black wall, and then hit assign. And importantly, you won't see the assign select, these buttons. They'll only appear when you're in edit mode. So if you don't see it, it's because you're not in edit mode. So in edit mode, select the face, then you'll see it and hit.
Also, I don't think you can select the face. Unless you're in edit mode. Well, at least I haven't figured out a way to do that yet. Okay. Materials.
Hit assign. In your list, and I'll just change the color to be really dark, almost black.
What? There we go. Oh, I think it's about this point in the video where we have to figure out where our sun is at. So let's go back into worlds. Is his sun? No, it's not. Oh.
All right, and now in edit mode, I'm gonna go face select, and I'm gonna select that one wall that I wanna have the black wall material to. And then here I select it from the material list, black wall, and then hit assign. And importantly, you won't see the assign select, these buttons. They'll only appear when you're in edit mode. So if you don't see it, it's because you're not in edit mode. So in edit mode, select the face, then you'll see it and hit assign. And now look at that, we have much more control. And in fact, because this light, sunlight is hitting this wall and it's currently dark, this color here now becomes almost like the control for how much fill light I want on the right-hand side of the donuts. So the brighter it goes, the more fill light I get. Yeah, just a very simple way to control that lighting a bit better. Awesome, that's looking pretty good. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the sun intensity. So there's a separate measurement here just for intensity. Now you could drop the intensity of the whole sky texture as well, but when you do that, it also drops the sky texture, right? And so I found it was like for a while when the feature came out, I was like it was very hard to control. But I realized like if you keep the strength at 1, but then you reduce the sun intensity, you could like, for example, reduce the sun intensity like by a lot and then increase your exposure. And then it's like the sunlight is there, but it's a lot softer, right? It's not like so overbearing. But essentially what I want to do, I'm going to set this sun intensity to 0.5. So it's half of its brightness, but the sky texture has full brightness. So it's just a little, a little less hot essentially. Awesome. Now, 2 things I will show you before we close this tutorial, which can be useful to know.
Wow.
One is how to import a model, okay? Because although as a beginner, it's good to understand modeling tools and know how to build things, when you start building scenes, it's very common, professional artists in studios, to just make use of model libraries because there is so much you need to model and basically fill in to create a realistic, believable scene. It's just too much for one artist to do. So it's very common to make use of model libraries. So what I want you to do is click the link in the description and you will find this model, the wood utensils, which we're going to put in the background, is a free model. And it's available in multiple softwares. The one we're looking for is the Blender file. So hit download on that. And then just like before, unzip the file that you receive. And inside it, you should see a bunch of textures and then one .blend file. Then we're going to go to File. You would think Import, but actually this is for external file extensions, like not blend files. If you want to import a blend file, it's actually the Append option. Okay, so now we select that .blend file, double click it, and now we're actually reading the blend file. We're reading the information inside that blend file, and it's saying, what do you want to import? Do you want to import just a single object from that blend file? Do you want to import a texture or a material perhaps? But in a lot of cases, if it's just a blend file that contains like one model, it's often going to be in a collection, a single collection. So go into collection and then just click the one that's there and then hit append. And now, even though there is multiple objects as part of this, it's just brought in all of them and it's put it into a collection already, utensils jar 001. So now I'm just going to move this into the back of my scene and that's it. So that's how to import data from one blend file into another. It's going a little slow for me. I'm going to move that. There we go. So I just want it, somewhere in the background like that. The other thing I want to show you how to do is how to install an add-on. Because although you might think that's kind of like an advanced user thing, you will very quickly realize that a lot of workflows rely on add-ons. So add-ons are very powerful and there's a lot of them out there. And it's not actually clear how to install add-ons to beginners. So I thought I would include that. So obviously we're going to use the Polygon add-on. I mentioned this earlier. It just lets you like download and import objects with one click. And there's a bunch of free models in here as well. So you can actually get started with those and do some interesting things. Click the link in the description. This will take you to the download page and you're just looking to download that. Great, so you can see it's downloaded a single zip file. And importantly, you do not want to unzip that zip file. And the reason is that Blender installs add-ons from the zip file that is unextracted. So to install an add-on, you go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, and then at the top, click on Install, then locate where you downloaded the zip file, just that there, and then you just hit Install. And now if it's correct, if it's like found and located an add-on inside that zip file, it should then automatically take you to the name of that add-on in the search, so you just have it there. And then to enable it, you just do a single click to check it, and it's now enabled. Now, obviously, every add-on will have a different way of accessing it, but commonly they are in the sidebar, which is exactly where the Polygon one is. So you'll see the tab here. They might actually be changing the sidebar at some point in the future, but for now, this is, anyway, how it is. So then just go login via browser. It's going to take you to the website. It'll say login confirmed. Return back to the add-on, and you can type in free, and you can see a whole bunch of different assets there. So actually one that I will import, if I go to my models section and then go to vegetation, there's a bunch of different plants here. There's like 4 free ones, I believe, so you can use one of those. I'm going to be using a paid one, just this spider one I thought looked quite nice. But yeah, you can access one of these free ones if you want to. And there we go. Awesome. So this is our render. We are nearing the finish line. I can feel it. We're getting close. So join me in the next part. We're going to dive into the composition and then animation and then the final render. So click here and I'll see you there.
Okay, I'm still here. Hi. I'm going to do all the... Wait. I'm going to download real quick the Polygon thingy. So I'm still here. I'm going to download the stuff. I'm going to have some background music. Polygon. What was it called? Utensils? Wooden utensils jar. Free. Free download. That's always nice to have. Beautiful. And then what was the other one? Oh, plants. Plant. That's not how you spell plant. Free. Plant. Filter. Do I really have to find... Oh, here's a free one. You said there's 4 free plants? Oh. I'm gonna do this one. You're gonna have to wait to see what it looks like. Boom. Alright, perfect. Give me 1 second. Okay. Hello. Okay, I'm back. I just had to download this stuff real quick. So now if we come here, If I switch back into, I'm noticing Eevee's. We didn't notice a difference very much at the beginning, but now look at the difference between Cycles and Eevee. It's just night and day, and it's literally night and day. That's a pun intended because you have the daylight coming in through the side now. Wow. Okay. So if I come up to, what do I do? File, append. It's not letting me append. Maybe it's because I have to come here. File. File. Nope, not that one. File. Why was append not?
We are on the
Why is append grayed out? Oh.
And then God said, let there be leavable scene. It's just too much for one artist to do. So it's very common to make use of model libraries. So what I want you to do is click the link in the description.
Yep,
In
we already
Mixida,
did
you should
this.
see import, but actually this and then one .blend file. Then we're going to go to file. You would
See, I don't know why my append is grayed out. It sounds like you are in edit mode. Oh, well, I was in edit mode apparently. Let's come back into this view real quick. File, append. Let's do this one first. Append this. We're going to want the collection, the utensil jar, append it. And there it is. It's in our collections here. And here is the jar. I wish there was a way to, well, there definitely is, a way to move across two axes at the same time. Ah. I was actually right with the size of those utensils before. Ah! These aren't parented? Is that not an option that you can... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Whew. Okay, I was getting scared there for a second. Okay. We go here, here. Oh. Command P. Object. No. No. I've done something incredibly horrible. Okay. I want you all parent object. How do I make you all move together? Utensils. Move in unison with how to link objects together in Blender. This is the beginner stuff. Control J. Union modifier. I have, well, here we go. Command J. Union. Did that work? Somehow it did. No it didn't. Only a few of them are linked together. Let me just go back in time to when all of these okay. All of these are selected, yeah. Nothing else is selected, yeah. The planes aren't selected, perfect. Command J. Boom. He is a master at 3D rendering. Whoop. Beautiful. Okay. Now, let's hopefully this next import is not going to be as tricky as I said as tricky as that's no bueno. Oh wait. Oh. We're doing fine. We're vibing. The thing happened again where they're not. Command J. How long? Oh, goodness. This is... this is infuriating. I don't know how long that's been like that. Nope. Wireframes. Edit mode. Yikes. You guys want to talk about high poly for no reason? Let's get rid. Let's Let's go to solid view. Like what? Wow. I was gonna select the bottom face, but oh, my bad. That's looking yummy.
Think import, but actually this is for external
Okay,
file
next
extensions, like not
video.
blend files. We are on the home stretch. Well done for sticking with the series.
How we doing? How we doing? We are close to the end. I feel like the people who get this far, so 238,000. I think at this point the last video is gonna have maybe more
Well,
views.
you made it. The end.
Yeah, the last video does have more views. At what point does that change?
And then God said, let the
So 200 and was this 291 was it? So at what point? Because everyone wants to skip to the end. So at what
Do you guys
point
know
is?
that in 2022?
Oh, so this is the point when it becomes. So it's in between part 9 and part 10, which is where most people. That's not right. Part 9 was easy. Part 8 was easy. Part 7 and 6, especially this part 6. I was surprised not as many people dropped out as I thought would at the beginning of that. But yeah. Okay, well, haven't received a phone call yet, but that's fine. Where are we on? Part 11. So we have 1, 2, 3. Now we have 4 more parts left to go.
We are on the home stretch. Well done for
Yes, we
sticking
are,
with the
Blender
series.
Guru.
It's a lot of work, a lot to retain, but well done for sticking with it. Now, a couple of things before we jump into compositing, the fun.
He was probably. Oh.
compositing stuff, I noticed a couple of things that I could tweak to the lighting just to improve it. And it's important we do it now because what we're going to do next relies on the lighting being correct. So the first is I noticed that the light rotation, it would be a little bit better if I rotated it so it's almost like a 90-degree, like completely side on to the donuts. So that's a pretty simple change. The other one I noticed is that I'm getting 90 degrees. I noticed that the light rotation, it would be a little bit better if I rotated it so it's almost like a 90-degree, like
90 degrees. I'm not good with 90 degrees. Sun rotation. And I can't just set this to 90 because I did not. I have horrible depth perception. My donuts are not perfectly centered. They're off to the side.
completely side on to the donuts. So that's a pretty simple change. The other one I noticed is that I'm getting this like kind of ugly bounce light coming off this, both the plate and the table. So to fix that, I can just move, right? Go into edit mode, edge select mode, select the edge of this window. And then if I just drag it, you'll see that the light just disappears off the front there. And now I have controlled the light.
I feel like I can't get the size of this thing correct. Because no matter what I do, it's either too small or too big, I feel like. Right now it feels too big. I think it is too big.
Now the other thing, speaking
Oh, it's definitely way too big. That looks pretty good.
of control, I noticed looking at this wall, like I was trying to tweak it and just try to improve it, but this is like a huge source of light, right? And so if you look on our donut, it's not very controlled, right? I could either, if I want to fill in this space, I could increase the brightness of that wall, but you can see it throws light just everywhere, and I don't really have any control over it.
Yes,
so
which is why he introduced how to make the black wall to prevent that from happening, which means we just wasted time in the Elder video.
Change my mind. Let's not use that as a fill source. Let's just drop the value to 0. So there is now no light coming off of that wall. It is a black void.
Okay.
Which is actually pretty, I mean, that's like a photographer holding up a black fill card next to a face. And instead...
Oh, he's about to cough. We got him mid-cough right here. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. We go to our materials. We go here. We edit this to be nothing. And I have to stop doing this with my... Oh, never mind.
Excuse me. Okay. Quick break there. I had to get a drink of water. Instead...
I might need to get a drink of water sometime soon.
I'm going to add in a lamp, okay? So I'm going to shift right mouse click so that I drop it on the ground here in front, sorry, to the side. And then I'm going to go shift A. I'm going to add in, not a point lamp, not a sun, but an area lamp. Okay, so this... This is what it looks like. It looks like a plane, right? Flat square thing, and it casts it in the direction of that arrow. So I want to rotate it along the y-axis. Just hold down control, and in the top left you can see we get a 90-degree angle, so that's what I'm looking for. And then the size of this, I want to drop the size in the setting there. Okay, so I'm just going to go really small actually. And now, if I pull in close with render view mode, we should see a lot more control over where that fill light goes. All right, so I can pull it in nice and close, right? Now, that's obviously way too bright, so I'll just now dial that back like so. And I can now pull it forward so that I get the fill light exactly where I want. But that's, you know, that's 3D, right? You try out an idea, you're like, okay, that could work. And then you look at it and you're like, maybe not. You know, I'll try a different one. But yeah, so I'm just going to give it a bit of a yellowy tint, and that's better. Awesome. Okay, so now we can do some compositing. But first of all, what is it? Well, the compositor is a way to add effects to the final render.
Okay. So we go and we go. Is this warm? I don't know which is which. Oh, I think 2 is... Or no, is it 3? That's yellow? Would be like 33.
render. So that could be everything from a simple color grade to like really stylized renders. So in our case, we're going to use it to add glare to better emulate a camera. That's really over where that fill light goes. So I want not, I'll try a different one. But yeah, so I'm just going to give it an idea. You're like, okay, that could work. And then you look at it and you're like, maybe not. I'll try a different one. But yeah, so I'm just going to give it a bit of a yellowy tint. And that's better. Awesome. Okay, so now we can do some compositing. But first of all, what is it? Well, the compositor is a way to add effects to the final render. So that could be everything from a simple color grade to like really stylized renders. So in our case, we're going to use it to add glare to better emulate a camera. That's really the purpose for this tutorial. So at the top of your screen, click on the compositor tab. So this will arrange your screen again, disorient you for a moment. But yeah, wouldn't you believe it? It's another node screen. So click use nodes the top there. For whatever reason, they always appear off your screen, at least in my case, maybe it appears on yours. But if you middle mouse up or just scroll down, you should be able to see it, or you can just hit the home key as well, and that'll bring it into focus. So it's actually pretty similar to like geometry nodes in that on the left-hand side, this is your original, like what you've started with, your original render. And then on the right-hand side, it's going to be your final output, like that's what's going to be saved to an image. And then in between here, you can put whatever it is you want. You could put a color grade, you could do some post-processing glare and shine and things like that. But before we can see anything, because normally you would see your results here, we can't for two reasons. The first is we haven't done a render, okay? It's not enough to just look in like rendered view mode here, right? This is just like a temporary view whilst we're moving around. We have to do a proper render by hitting F12. But if we did one right now, we'd be waiting a while because the maximum samples is 4,000, which is maybe, it's like probably pretty good for like film animation production quality, but it's overkill. And especially for this, like we're just doing some test renders. So let's set it to 100 samples and that'll do it way faster. So now let's hit F12 on that. There we go. So that came through for me, 7 seconds. Again, I got 430/90s. It'll probably be a little slower if you're on a lap.
What is F12? Like, what was the alternative to F12? I don't know if I can do F12 or not. How are we doing since we're only doing 100? That's not even centered. Last time was a minute and like 23 seconds, but we have a lot less max samples here, so hopefully it should be faster. It is on GPU, so I'm not sure what's taking forever here. Yeah, this is taking a lot longer than last time. Okay, let's pretend that we have it rendered because this isn't working for some reason.
Top, yeah, just be patient. It'll come through. Now go to the compositing tab, and we still can't see it because we need to add a viewer node and connect it to this.
Oh, we have to wait for it to finish rendering. This might take 8 minutes again. I'm gonna go get some water while it's rendering, and I will be back. Just take a look at my screen while it's rendering. Let me play some music. Did I explain the music thing already? I can't do the 50s music because it keeps like blocking my videos on YouTube. Like, I'm fine at getting copyright claims because I'm not trying to make money off of these videos, but it's being blocked, so that's why I'm not playing the 50s music anymore. This is really sad. Something's not right here. Something's actually not right here. This is taking longer than the first time I rendered it with my CPU. Oh. Well, that's because this wasn't... Hello? Max samples should be 100. Oh, was it? Oh. Well, that would make sense. Yeah, we're only a quarter of the way. I'm not doing that. Cancel. Cancel that rendering. Beautiful. Now we're at 100. Render image. This should only be out of 100. Okay, there's that. Now we come back into here, and what do?
And you can do that just by holding down Control, Shift, and then left-clicking on your render layer. Okay, just be patient; it'll come through. Now go to the compositing tab, and we still can't see it because we need to add a viewer node and connect it to this. And you can do that just by holding down Control, Shift, and then left-clicking.
Command Shift left-clicking. Is it Control Shift left? Hello?
On your render layer, and now we have a viewer node, and in the background we have our render. So some people find it like a little weird to have the render in the background. You can move it around just by holding down Alt and then middle mouse button, and then middle mouse button will move your nodes around. So Alt, middle mouse button for the background, and then middle mouse for the nodes. Anyways, as a very quick example, let's do a simple color adjustment. So adjustment, color balance, right? Drop this in here. Now, if you just dropped it into your viewer node, then this would be just what is going to be shown in the background here, right? Drop this in here. Now, if you just dropped it into your viewer node, then this would be adjustment. So adjustment, color.
That's not right. What was it? It was... I already forgot it.
Color balance.
Color balance. There it is.
Right? Drop this in here. Now, if you just dropped it into your viewer node, then this would be just what is going to be shown in the background here, but it wouldn't be saved in your render until it went through your composite node. But for just this quick effect, it's good enough. So this is graders know exactly what this is, but it's for, on the left-hand side, your blacks, right? Your midtones is in the middle, and the right-hand side is your highlights. So if I wanted to make, I don't know, like a cooler midtone, and then like a warmer highlight, right? And then, I don't know, something for the blacks, like make it more green. I don't know, just make something horrible. You could do it here. You could make simple color adjustments. You could do it there. And your original render hasn't changed. This is just a post-processing step. But actually, on the note of making things look more contrasted and punchy, I wouldn't actually bother with the color balance node. We used to, but now Blender has some pretty good color management. So I'm going to hit Control X on that to just remove it, but retain its connection. And then if you go down in your render settings to color management, there is a look drop down here. So if you set this to high contrast, that's exactly the same as like what we were doing there, like trying to
color management.
like increase the highlights or reduce the midtones. It's a very common thing to try and make something look punchier. And these looks will do that, but do it really well. A lot of people make the assumption that this is like, you shouldn't use these or it's going to like mess with the colors in some way. And like other applications, true. A lot of like art apps, they just, you use one of their contrast settings and it just starts like clipping highlights and things. But this was designed by Troy Sobotka, who understands color science and color management. So it's a proper S-curve. You won't have any clipping going on. So I use this all the time. Usually the one I go for is a medium high contrast.
Oh, my bad. What was this at before? Like 1,000? Yeah, I think it was at 1,000 before. It definitely wasn't. It was at more than that, I feel like. Yeah.
Like other so original render has something horrible. You can right your height, put it into your viewer node.
Oh, composite. Nope, that's not the right one. Ah. Only 100 this time. And I did not change the angle, so it's still off center, but that's okay. He didn't say how to zoom out, did he?
Then this would be just what is going to be shown in the background here, but it wouldn't be saved in your render until it went through your composite node. But or something button its connection. I contrast switch the view transform to AGX, which creates more realistic looking images, because previously it was on Filmic and it looked like this. And you can see the difference is AGX it just looks more real. But the reason for that is that Filmic was, and actually the same with Aces right now, the film, like the one, the Academy, all the people in VFX use and everything, it's got this same problem. But when you've got color, the more exposed a color is, it should actually start to desaturate. But what Aces and what Filmic was doing is it was making that color more and more saturated. So that's why these bright colors here are just starting to get ugly, right? But AGX fixes that and it starts to behave more like film, where it just desaturates those colors as it exposes for it. So very cool, and I'm glad they've got that. While I'm here as well, I'm just going to increase the exposure a bit. It's going to blow it out a little. Anyway, we'll fix it a bit with the lighting later. But anyways, okay, back to the compositor. So one thing that I often use a compositor for is for what you see in the real world, which is glare. Right? If you've got a shiny metallic object, a bumper or something like that, you want to have that starburst, right, coming off it, because that's what you see in the real world. You see it both with your eyes, like if you squint at something in the distance, you'll see like like this kind of like starburst around like a street light at night. That's actually because of the eyelashes on your eye. But on camera, it's for a different reason. It's because of the optical elements. It's kind of like refracting around itself, and it's creating this starburst look. I don't understand it fully, but I know that it's an artifact which has artistic use as well. So we are going to add it. It is a little fiddly, I'll be honest. Like other software, they just have a button and it just like adds the bloom and the glare and stuff. We have to do this for now. So Shift A. We probably could if more people donated to Blender, right? We could have stuff like this. But anyways, so not to kill you all. Filter, glare.
I already felt guilted in the last video. It's okay. When I get money, I will donate to Blender.
Okay, and that was Shift A, by the way. Same hotkey works everywhere.
Wow. Isn't that something?
And drop this in. Okay, so we've got little starbursts. We've only got 4, which is not ideal. We want as many as we can get, really. So drag it up to 16. That's better. Now, there's 2 values here you really want to change. The first is the threshold. That'll decide how much of the image is affected. Like, as I drag this up in value, it means only the really bright stuff is going to be affected. If you dragged it really low, then like everything is going to give off. off a starburst, and it's not going to be what you want. And the other one is the mix value. So if you drag it all the way to 1, then it's going to be just the effect by itself. If you drag it all the way to -1, it's going to be the original render. So if you wanted a nice blend between it, you could go like a -0.9 or something, and then you've got the starburst over the top of the
Why does my glare look better than his?
original render. But if you wanted between it, you could go like a -0.9 or something, and then you've got the starburst over the top of the original render. But if you want to blend this with something else, I find it best to actually drag the mix all the way to 1 so that we're just looking at the effect by itself. I can then also, let me just quickly adjust the threshold so that I'm only getting it in the really bright places. Yep, that's good. And then I can blend it with another effect that I want. So I'm going to hit Control-Shift-D, and that's going to duplicate it, but it's going to keep it connected to my render layer here. And then this one, I'm going to make the fog glow, because looking at reference, it's not just the starburst, but it's also got a like a glare, like this glow, blurry glow coming off it. So the fog glow is that look, right? It's just that. And let's increase the size, I think, and let's set the quality to high. Do we need high quality? Yeah, I think it looks better. All right. All right, so first, to blend this all together with the render layer, what we want to do is, just like you would do in Photoshop, if you would use like a blend mode, you would set the blend to screen or add. We can do that by blending with Shift-A, color, mix color. Okay, so this, we're going to drag in both of our glare effects, and then instead of mix, we're going to set it to add. So that will just basically ignore the black values, and it will just take the white values and combine them on the top of each other. All right, now the way Blender works, unlike Photoshop, where it's like top to bottom, in this case, it's bottom input up. So this factor value will define how bright the bottom input is. Okay, it's a little weird, I guess, in that respect, but so this is the strength of that bottom input. Yeah, so when you're blending something and you want to control it, you just put it into the bottom input. So the streaks, it's way too heavy. So I just want to go to like a 0.2 or something like that. Really, really subtle, even lower, goodness. It's really heavy, the streak. I don't know why it is so bright, but I never want it as bright as it is. Okay.
Either I accidentally did something or they fixed that, because that's not a thing anymore. I'm detaching that for now. Make this, what do you say, fog glow. And then he has, oh yeah, the streak's going into the bottom. This goes here. This goes here. Beautiful.
Okay, and now,
and he has like a 0.010. 0.010.
to blend it with the original render.
Oh, but ours looks different, so.
For my final trick, I duplicate that, drop it in here, and put this into the bottom input, and I'll connect this to my viewer. Do that, drop it in here. And now, to blend it with the original render, for my final trick, I duplicate that, drop it in here, and put this into the bottom input, and I'll connect this to my viewer. And then let's set this to a 1. By the way, so the composite, maybe I explain. Anyway, the composite is going to be what's saved into your render. The viewer is just going to be what is displayed in your background here.
Yes, I did get that. Nodes are making more sense to me now. This is This information, I believe, goes beyond just Blender. I believe this could still be applied to DaVinci. While it doesn't make as much sense because I'm more familiar with layers, this is actually more of a puzzle and therefore more fun for me, at least, to do it this way. Shifty there. This goes into here. This goes into here. Get rid of that. We can go here. Go 1. And then we also need that to go into our composite.
Maybe I explain. Anyway, the composite is going to be what's saved into your render. The viewer is just going to be what is displayed in your background here. So if you don't have something connected into the composite, it's not going to be saved when you do the render. Okay, but that's pretty good. So that's how we've got a very quick glare effect over everything. It's a little heavy. I might just drop it back a bit because we want it to be just enough that you can see it, but not crazy. By the way, if you want to zoom in your backdrop, you can hit V, will shrink the size of it, and Alt V will zoom in. They really
Thank you. Been waiting for that.
a better one. I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, it definitely could be better. I think there's, you can control it like that. Okay, so if you hit your viewer node, you've got these little, okay, you can do it like that as well. But yeah, V and Alt V is like a keyboard shortcut from the old days of Blender. And anyways, all right, dial back. I don't want to go too heavy. Like the thing with post-processing when you're doing stuff in the compositor is you can you just get distracted. You just get hypnotized by the effect. And it's so common to have a render that a beginner has done that's actually pretty solid, but then they have just really hammed up the post-processing effect. So don't do that. Don't get overly obsessed with it because it's almost certainly overkill. You just need to dial it back to less than you're comfortable with, and then it's probably right. Because whilst you're adding it, you get really excited. Anyways, that's what I found myself. The other thing I'll show you is if we just bring up this bottom window, I don't know why Dope Sheet is the selected one. It makes no sense for the compositing layout. But if you click the little drop down in the top left, change it to 3D viewport. And now, no sense for the compositing layout. But if you click the little drop down in the top left, change it to 3D viewport. And now, in rendered mode, click the little drop down next to it, and you should see at the bottom, you've got options for compositor. So let's click always. And what you'll see is that the compositing effects, what's happening up here, is now being composed live over the top of your viewport. And this is a very new feature. I think it's actually 4.0 is when it was officially added in. But it's huge because it means you can do and preview your effects whilst you're looking around your scene. So you could look at this, hey, I can see the exact amount of that glare that's coming off it. You could do, you can do crazy stuff in the compositing and it'll show through. As an example, there's a new Kawahara. You can do crazy. crazy stuff in the compositing, and it'll show through. Like as an example, there's a new Kawahara filter that looks like this kind of like painterly style, and you can you can preview it like live in the 3D view. It's like I feel like I'm looking at a painting right now, right? It's really crazy that you can do this real time. So I'm really glad it's finally in there, because it's been talked about for like a year, I think was when it was first previewed. So it's really cool that it's finally in here. So one thing I will use it for actually is to check that the threshold that I've set for the fog and the streaks is actually correct. So I'm going to look through the streaks. I think streaks is it's a bit slow, but anyways, let's pull in here. And let's just take a look. I might have to add in a little bit. Okay, there we go. I have to add in a little bit of the original render so I can actually see. But I just want to make sure that it's mostly coming through on the metallic objects. So I might actually try increasing. So you can see as it's like all the way at 0, you're just getting everything. It's going to get star beams. But then as I increase it slowly, it starts to disappear. And then the only thing that's really getting it is those metallic objects. And that's generally the look that I want to go for. So so I went for a much higher
Remember, we don't have metallic
for that. Anyways, you could have a different amount for the glow, but I think it's generally one and the same effect, so I think they should have the same threshold. So I'm actually going to just mouse over this and hit Control-C, and then mouse over this and hit Control-V. So that's how you can copy values. Let me just preview that. Yeah, the fog glow looks pretty good. Oh, it's on high. That's why it's going to be a little bit slow. If you set it to medium, I think it'd be a little bit more interactive. But anyways, the GPU compositing, I'll say, is very new. As I mentioned, it's this release. And it actually, for 4.0, the actual final render, like when you hit render and it creates the 2D image, it's actually still going to be using the CPU. Apparently in 4.1, maybe 4.2, it will change. It'll be fully GPU at that point. But until then, you will have like slightly longer render times just because of the compositor. Because the compositor has been famously slow in Blender for years. It's only just now that it's being improved. So we're not really going to do a lot with the compositor. Like I really generally think you don't want to go overkill. You can just add too many like bells and whistles to the compositor. But really, like if you want to do like drastic changes, you should try to do it in the scene, unless you're doing something crazy like Spider-Verse, in which case it's all stylized, right? But try to do it in the scene because, yeah, I feel like it can be more of like a crutch. You tend to like lean towards like, I'll fix it in the compositor, I'll improve it in the compositor, and it doesn't. One thing you might want to add is underneath, where is it? Transform, lens distortion. Okay, if you add in this node, this can replicate an effect that is actually in all cameras as well, and that's lens distortion, right? So you can see, it actually makes more sense to actually see it on the 2D image. So I'll put that in the background there. But basically where the edges of a shot, it's like if you take a photo with your iPhone on like a wide, it's most visible on like wider lenses, but the straight vertical things start to look bent. And it's barrel distortion, and there's no way to get around it unless you use a pinhole camera. It's kind of interesting thing, but it's all because of the optics of the lens that bends the objects like that. So anyways, it is in all objects. It does though, because it's like a post effect, it does kind of blow, so it's like manipulating those pixels. So it means those pixels aren't going to be as sharp. So I generally don't like it for that reason. But if you wanted to, you could add this. Just keep it really low, like a 0.1 amount with fit, so that it doesn't get that TV screen look on the edges. And then the other thing you could add is a little bit of chromatic aberration. I'll show you just, yeah, this is what that does. So you can see, this is with it turned up a lot. You can see the edges of the objects, right? It has this kind of, the red and the cyan and the red and the yellow, it like towards the edges of it, it gets this, this kind of separation of the colors. And that is, again, a naturally occurring thing that happens with cameras because of the optics. And the cheaper the optics, the cheaper the lens, the more likely it's to happen. But it is there. I try not to use it.
That's really cool.
It because it can be very overused and very like, it just makes it look cheap. Like, hey, this person just discovered there's the chromatic aberration. But if you are going to use it, go really low, like, because actually this, you have to think of the story of the shot, and someone has like framed this shot beautifully, got beautiful sunlight, right? This is a professional. Professional has taken this photograph of the donuts on the counter. They're not going to be using a cheap lens. So although there might be some chromatic aberration, it'll be very, very minimal. But if you want that, you know what, I'll keep it in. Yeah. Why not? We'll keep it in. But yeah, that's basically what I'm going to do for this. So this is my final node setup. If you'd like to copy it, have at it. The final thing I'll mention as well is if you want to disable your composite, like say you're doing some renders and you just want to see it without the post-processing effects on top of it, rather than having to come in here and then like, reconnect and disconnect a bunch of nodes. Instead, if you just go to your, the output property settings, way at the bottom, you've got post-processing. So if you just uncheck compositing, that means you're only going to be seeing the original render, and then check it again, and it's going to be kicking in whatever is in your compositing settings. But that's it for this video. Click here to watch the next part, and I will see you there. It's time to learn about animation.
I think we'll be done for today, because I think there's only 3 more videos left. 12, 13, 14, and 14 is only 10 minutes long, and this one's only 16 minutes long. So definitely this can be done tomorrow, which means our donut animation will be done mañana, which is really cool to think about. Let's go ahead and render this. Well, dang it. I keep forgetting to fix that the camera position. Let's go to camera. I wish we had our... Is there any way for us to get our frames up so I know what the middle of the camera is supposed to be? Is this the middle? Is that centered? No. It is not. Shows you how much I know. There's that centered. Yeah, but also it's super duper off. I just realized we have our sprinkles on the ground here. That'll be fine for now. See, that was done in 40 seconds. Let's go ahead and save. Donut day 5. Save as image. Okay. Well, that will do it for today's stream. A shorter stream, especially compared to Friday, but still just crossed over the 2-hour mark. So I don't think it's our shortest stream. I think we had one actually under 2 hours, which at the time was over 2 hours, seemed like a lot, but now being 5 days in, oh, we've had 2 under 2 hours. Day 3, I remember, was just bugging me. I really did not like day 3, so that makes sense. And then day 1 was 1 hour and 21 minutes, was our shortest one. So this is not our shortest one. So, yeah. Ooh, this looks too dreamy. It looks very dreamy with the effect that I added to it. You see that? That's very dreamy. It's okay. It's okay. Oh, sorry, we're peaking again. I'm not even paying attention to my audio levels. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you for the last time tomorrow.